Hold up a second, Jay. Are you telling me that I need to have a great agent helping me when I'm buying a house?
Absolutely.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. We're super excited you're with us today. Jay, awesome to be back with you
Brian,
as well.
it's great to be with you as well.
We are really excited to have this conversation today. We are going to be talking about what we think are the most important traits that make a great real estate agent.
And it's such a great topic.
It is. It really is.
And it's so important to us and our business because it's great to work with great agents.
It is. So. And we know that we'll have a lot of our great agent friends watching this podcast. And we know we don't have all the answers. We know we're not agents, but we would absolutely love to get your comments and your feedback. So definitely comment below. Everybody like and share. That's really helpful to get the message out. And I think we'll just jump right into it, Jay.
Sure. Well, maybe, and let's just back up just a second. So this is our third episode. Right?
Number three.
Number three. So it's pretty exciting that we've gotten enough good feedback too, just to keep this going. So we really appreciate your support.
Yep.
And
we're even trying out a third camera on this one.
That's right. It's exciting. it's pretty cool.
We think
great agents.
Great agents. Number one on my list is relationships. They're really good at building relationships.
Yes.
And I think that starts with their customer up front. So when they're just getting the process started, having a great high trust conversation with them where they really get to know their needs and their goals and just what they're trying to accomplish. It sets the stage, I think, for a great transaction.
Yes, and building great relationships takes practice and it takes time.
It does.
So yeah, it's kudos to those that are able to build those relationships and to build them quickly. A lot of times you have to build trust quickly and early on. So sometimes it's difficult to do.
Yeah, being able to be really quick to build rapport, especially with, let's say, for example, the seller's agent on a house that you want to make an offer on.
Yes, and sometimes that can be everything. When you're negotiating for a purchase transaction and you can't get the person on the phone, or they'll try to email and there's no response on the other end, and sometimes it's really difficult to get that response back to build that rapport. And so it seems like the ones that are the most successful are the ones that they're able to connect with, let's say, the listing agent on the other side, and then they're able to successfully negotiate that transaction together.
So speaking of negotiating, that's actually number two on our list. Is we feel that you've got to be a great negotiator to be a highly effective agent.
Yes, for sure. And with negotiations too, there's a purchase contract in a real estate purchase transaction, but the purchase isn't always just about the price.
Right.
There's so much more that goes into a real estate purchase.
Yep. I mean, understanding obviously your way through the contract, but understanding the inspection process, understanding timing of when to order the appraisal. I mean, all these things are super important and part of the negotiating process.
Yep, and to even just to know what to negotiate for and when to negotiate, and maybe sometimes when not to negotiate.
Yes, maybe that's even more important. I don't know.
It could be. It could be.
Problem solving, I think, is another. Having the ability to think quickly and do problem solving along the way, I think, is really important also.
Yep. Just being able to, there's so many different things, different variables that can come up in any real estate transaction. Whether you're buying or you're selling your home, there's problems that are going to arise. Every transaction is different, and every transaction has a different set of buyers and sellers. Everyone is unique and everyone is different. Yeah. So there's going to be problems when there's people involved. So.
Yeah. And I think one of the ways I think about problem solving is in figuring out how to present your house. Like if you're selling your house, how to stage your house properly
you have a good story
to maximize value and sell it as quickly as you can. Yeah. I've worked with several really good agents that do staging on their own, but one comes to mind. We were doing an open house together in Tempe, and it was an older house. It was probably 30, 40-year-old house, and it was original owner. And so you can imagine the condition. It wasn't really well updated. There was just a lot of, but she came in and she brought a lot of her own furniture too, by the way, and trim, for decor and everything. But she didn't overdo it. It was a less is more proposition, but it was things like area rugs and just the right table here, and it was amazing. And we had I remember we had a tremendous weekend and lots of prospects, and she sold it within a week. It was pretty cool.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah.
And so was the seller happy with the results?
Oh yeah, they were selling, they were buying a house out of state, and
Okay.
so you know how it goes. It's a domino effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's people on both sides of your transaction that are relying on your transaction to complete itself. So I always think of for that reason. I always think of staging and problem solving.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, another big one that we see from time to time, not all the time, but we do see it happen where, let's say, during the loan process, there's always an appraisal that is required. Mm-hmm. Typically on a purchase, you're going to see that. Yeah. And sometimes we'll see where the appraisal comes in lower than the negotiated purchase price.
Yeah.
And so what happens when that happens? Everybody kind of has to go into problem solving mode and really has to start to work together to solve that problem.
And a great agent understands that there's three solutions, right? Solution A is the seller comes down all the way to the appraisal price. Solution B is the buyer comes in with all the cash, and C, which we find happens most of the time when it's a great negotiation, when it's again a really great agent that's on top of it, is they meet somewhere in the middle.
Oh yeah, and it's got to be it has to be that way. It's
Yeah.
got to be a win-win.
Yeah.
For the buyer, it has to be a win-win for the seller, and the agents have to be happy as well. So
yeah, I heard a great. I don't know who quite to attribute this to, but it wasn't my idea. But back when I was in school, I heard this comment about negotiating, that a great negotiation is when both parties come in with at least a good understanding of where the other party is coming from, and at the end of the negotiation, they both feel like they came away with the win. Maybe not quite the huge, gigantic victory, but they both felt like it went well.
Yeah, and I think we could also say that great agents also tend to be great communicators.
Yes.
And I think the better the communicator they are, the easier the transaction's going to go for everybody involved. Yeah.
I mean, inside communication, you can talk about honesty and integrity and everything that comes along with the communication process during a loan transaction, transparency with the clients, and what not to say,
disclosures,
what not to say. I mean, it's both sides.
Warrants, of course, disclosures and things like that come up. Yeah. That honesty and integrity absolutely they play right into that. Yeah. So
I think that a great agent really has a passion for housing and architecture and design. For example, when you're going into buying a house, like they don't just stand at the front door and let you go do your tour. They actually walk around with you, and they actually help you visualize what could be, what actually you could do with this house that makes your buying decision not only better, but a lot more fulfilling in the end, because you end up getting the house that turns into what.
Or even space planning.
Space planning, absolutely, yeah.
It's a big one. Oh, we can do this here or do this there.
But I think it shows that they care.
Yes.
So when an agent really is passionate about housing itself and design and everything else, I think it shows they care, and I think that really is great for the borrower.
It's great. Yeah, I know some agents that'll help with staging for even after they've closed on their purchase. They'll help them with design, and it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
So
Actually, I have another story there. Actually, I have an agent that I've known for quite a few years. She and her husband they're a real estate team, but her husband spent a career in kitchen and bath remodeling.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
So she's got the design eye, and then he's got the actual make it come to be ability, and they offer that service to their clients post closing to move this wall or add a back, whatever whatever they want to do.
And that's a great combo.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure.
How about understanding the market?
Well, I think that's a really important one. It's hard to say, what priority these all have, but we know that these are, they're all qualities of great agents.
I would argue they all carry pretty much equal weight.
It's so important.
Yeah.
To have an agent that really understands the local market and the local economy is a huge benefit, especially for those that are moving in from out of state.
Absolutely.
To actually have that local, the per se like boots on the ground, somebody that can actually be your advocate and your physical, representation here locally is a major thing. They have a really good understanding for the neighborhoods and the communities that have maybe with or without HOAs, and they know some of the nuances of those HOAs. For example, if you have somebody that's interested in purchasing in a condominium complex, there's nuances that, with HOAs, and sometimes they have multiple HOAs.
And much more expensive HOAs.
And
awareness
and
that
why?
That it might not actually necessarily translate to more affordability right? You might get a lower purchase price, but
Exactly.
you add $200-300 a month in HOA, and all of a sudden your
Well,
affordability is
with the condos, every once in a while, you'll see where they'll actually have separate HOAs, one for the homeowners association, but then they'll have an additional association just for the gates.
Yeah.
Or the pool, or the, where you've got two or
Cracks
three
me up.
different HOAs.
Yeah.
So you're going in with this, you're absolutely right, with this lower purchase price, but essentially the total monthly housing payment is going to be quite a bit higher than if you were to just find an equivalent single-family residence or townhome.
And I think, kind of to wrap up the understanding the market topic, I think, just knowing the neighborhoods, knowing, just taking the time to understand more about the schools and being able to tell prospective buyers, especially the ones that were coming out of town, like you mentioned earlier, this particular neighborhood school, the whole district's great, but this particular neighborhood is awesome.
Yes.
Your kids will be great here. Look at that. It's inside the neighborhood. There's a lot going for it. I think of those sorts of things also.
Yep. Yeah, it's really important. It's a great conversation.
And I think
we may
we
have
could
to continue.
I think we absolutely could continue the conversation. We're running short on time here, but I think we would love to, again, we'd love to hear from the agents out there. We'd love to meet with you and actually and talk to you about what you think makes a great agent. Absolutely, that would be awesome. But all your comments, everything, we really, really appreciate it. We'd love to hear your stories. I think that's the biggest thing that you could do in the comment section. Make sure you like and share, and we'll catch you guys on the next video.
All right.
Take care, everybody. Hold up a second. Are you telling me that when let's keep going. I picture great agents doing it, where they take the time to sit down with them, get to know them better, really understand what their needs are, what their goals are, what they're trying to accomplish?
Yes. Completely blank. Completely blank. Like a karate chop. Absolutely, absolutely. Absolutely, Brian.